Yeah, this episode's not going to suck like the last 100 or so. This one's going to rock with the nice guys on business.
Inner loop of the Beltway jammed up between I-95 and Route 40 West. Let's check Towson now along the inner loop where delays also continue between York Road and Perring Parkway. Fort McHenry Tunnel, slight delay into the tube where the Harbor Tunnel's jammed up solid, per usual from 198 out toward Route 100. I'm Dave Sandler on WBAL News Radio 1090.
Hey! So tell me, when the time is right, will you be ready for the nice guys on business? Oh yeah. Need an education on how to grow your business? The nice guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, nice guy community, welcome back. It is Tuesdays, which means it's time for stupidness and a shit show with Doug and I. My name is Strickland Bonner. Doug Sandler on the other side of the microphone, and special guest star Mr. Dave Sandler on the third side of the microphone.
What's up, guys?
Dave, this is really good. You know, this makes for really good podcasting. I would say this makes for good radio since David is a radio guy, but I think it actually makes for good podcasting. Dave, we've done now almost 300 episodes in the last 2 years, so I know that pales in comparison to where you are. How long have you actually been on the radio? Tell the nice guy community in Baltimore.
Well, I started back in December of 1986. This is my 31st year broadcasting. I think I've done almost 95,000 traffic reports.
95,000. That's fucking incredible.
Yeah, that is crazy. It's crazy because, we started off doing it from an airplane, and now we're sitting in a little studio like a air traffic controller. So, I mean, technology has changed. How I do it's changed. I'm in pajamas now. That's great. I love that. So,
that's how we did. Strick and I do every pod. I'm in my pajamas. I have not gotten out of my pajamas the entire week.
That's a visual that I don't really care to share with my audience.
Hey, but every once in a while, when Dave was early on in his career with David works for a station called 98 Rock in Baltimore, which is like the rocker station, and the business station, which is 1090 AM WBAL. And every once in a while, he would get me on to the 98 Rock station. And what was your nickname for me? I love it. What is it?
Well, it's Detour Doug, the traffic slug, because mine is Detour Dave, the traffic slave.
Yeah, and it always made for really horrible radio whenever David would have me on the air. But I love doing it. It really is fun. So 97. How many? What did you say? 97,000 or
almost 100,000.
Almost 100,000 traffic reports. And when you break that down into simple math, it comes to what, 11 cents per? Is that pretty much what it comes to?
No, I've been paying the station ever since. Yeah, pretty much.
Jeez.
I'm in the negative.
So Strick and I had a brief conversation yesterday, Dave, about a lost baseball glove. No, it wasn't about a lost baseball glove.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we had a conversation yesterday. He said something like, I did the intro to the show, and I said it kind of makes me feel like putting a righty glove on my left hand. Or, have you ever been in I know you've always been prepared with a glove, Dave, but have you ever been in a game and you forgot your glove and you had to borrow somebody else's, and the only person that would lend you the glove was the opposite hand, so you had to put it on your...
Well, the problem is, since I'm left-handed, that has happened before because, you think about it, when you're playing baseball, there's probably, let's say there's 20 guys playing the game, and maybe one or two is left-handed, which means they only have like one or two of those types of gloves. Sometimes you never have a glove that there's only right-handed people out there. So, that's happened to me a half a dozen times.
And Doug, we talked about that on the podcast. I don't even remember what the hell the point was.
No, the point was, isn't it uncomfortable when you have to do something that's out, like that? When you're a guy, I introduced the show and it didn't feel comfortable for me. And I made the analogy as it's kind of like putting a righty glove on my lefty hand. And it's just not a comfortable thing. And then I brought up the fact that my brother would love to contribute to the story because I lost his glove when I was very early on. So Dave, why don't I let you tell the story?
Oh, jeez. I tell it. First you tell me, don't ever tell the story again. Now we're telling it to your 1 million listeners on your podcast.
Oh, that would be great. Nice guy community. You've just been multiplied by many fold. So tell the story. Let's let this live on, Dave.
Well, we lived in an apartment complex just adjacent to an elementary school. So that basically was our backyard every day. We'd go and just go through the woods, and we'd get all of a sudden it was like a field of dreams. We would just appear, and there would be 2 ball fields. So one of the times I was up playing ball.
By the way, it was my nightmare, not my field of dreams. I hated baseball. I hated. David was such a good He was such a good athlete, and I sucked at everything I would do.
You're underestimating yourself. You are. You really are. You were fine.
At the team sports, basketball, soccer, baseball, not good. It's not that I wasn't good. I wasn't as good as you, and it. Honestly, it probably pissed me off. I don't feel like I'm angry now, but at that point, maybe it's very frustrating. I just wanted to take my blanket and go home.
Let's go more with those feelings. What's really eating at you here?
I think that's what it is. I think I must have been like inferior for some reason. I was a cute guy. I always carried a little blanket with me all the time in my pocket.
With some dribble. You had some dribble coming off your chin.
A lot of dribble. I was a big thumb sucker. Was I a bedwetter?
No. Of course you were. So was I. This is another show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slumming with the Sandlers.
White trashing it with the Sandlers. Oh my gosh! All right, so keep going.
So I'm playing in this game. I don't know, a baseball game of some kind. And as things happen, since we have baseball fields and we have a basketball court and a jungle gym. You play ball for maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then you want to play a different sport. So basically what I said when you came running up and said, can I play with you guys? And of course I said, no, go home, take my glove with you, and I'll see you for dinner. Yeah, so,
that's probably pretty typical.
Yeah, fairly typical. So, you hung your head, you put your glove under your arm, and I saw you disappear into the woods.
Nice guy community. Just so you're aware, David is 4 years older than me. So, how old were you at this point? 10, 11?
Yeah, something like that, I guess.
So I was probably 6 or 7 years old. And, he gave a responsibility to an irresponsible kid.
But it was a brand new glove also. I had just gotten it. You could get the oil and you break it in, you put it under your mattress and you try to break your glove. And I'm sure everybody's done that. Well, you haven't, but everybody else.
The internet does that for everybody now. They don't have to do it. It comes that's the trouble with youth today. Like gloves come probably pre-oiled, pre-smushed, and pre-mattress. I know. What's the fun of that?
Yeah, when you don't have to get up from the seat to turn the television channel. Oh, the kids today, they got it so easy with the remotes and all. Come on, guys. You sound like a bunch of old Jewish men.
All right, we are old Jewish men. That's good. That fits what we are.
So basically, I'm asking him just to go, I don't know, maybe, what would you say, the equivalent of maybe a quarter of a mile. Take the glove with him, drop it in the house. If he wants to come back, of course, he can play with us or whatever.
It's a lot to ask a 6-year-old.
I guess it was, because what happened? I come back to the house, several hours later. We sit down to dinner. I asked Doug, can I get my glove? Because I wanted to start, breaking it in even more while we're having some dinner. And he goes, I lost your glove. Huh? I said, well, where is it? He said, I don't know. I don't have it. So I'm assuming that somewhere between when I gave him my glove at the ball field and the house, this glove is laying somewhere, and probably wolves have already devoured.
So a kid stole it from me.
What?
Yeah, it must have happened. Somebody must have bumped into me and said, "Give me the fucking glove, or your life." And
right.
I probably
you blocked that from your memory, right, Doug? I'm sure that's how it happened.
It was a traumatic experience for a 6-year-old Strickland. You have no idea what you're fucking talking about. It was horrible. It was a horrible experience. I get home. I obviously had gone through some trauma. And years of counseling later, and I just don't know where the glove is. I don't know where the glove is. I swear, in my mind, I've replayed this story a million times. I've heard about this story since I was 6 years old. I'm 52, so for the last 46 years, I've heard this story at least once a month.
Oh, I remind you every time I see it, every holiday dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes. I just tip my hand, and he just goes, "Don't tell the story again."
It was
so anyway. You still owe me a glove.
I do. It was the most fun experience of sorrow, and I feel really bad that I lost the glove. But think about all of the years of story that we wouldn't have to share if we didn't have
sharing
the glove.
it again today. But that's that it's disappointing. I do forgive you. I don't know if I've ever publicly forgiven you for it. I do forgive you. You were a little kid. You probably dropped it. You thought you had it in your hand. We went back through the woods 100 times back and forth trying to find it. Someone got it. Someone maybe took it from you. I forgive you.
Thank you. I feel vindicated. Hold on a second. God got the ringing of the bell as a result of it.
I do forgive you.
So, Dave, let's talk about. I know because we have actually a business show here, and I want to spend a couple of minutes.
You know serious?
You know that, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Doug, we want to get to our sponsor today, too, because Julie Reisler's got her book signing tonight.
Gosh, yeah. Let's talk about Julie for a second. Let's do the sponsorship thing, and then we'll get back to the stories with Dave, and we'll have some enjoyable times while he's on the air. So Julie is going to be actually at Ananda, right? Is that where she's going to be?
Ananda, is that how you pronounce it? Yeah.
Ananda Restaurant in Fulton. So if you are anywhere in the Baltimore or in the D.C. area, tonight from 5:30 to 8:30, Julie has a book, Get a PhD in You. Strick, I'm doing this all from memory here. You help me if I'm messing any of this up.
That's good.
Get a PhD in You. Julie is just releasing the book. It is coming out. Is it today the book actually comes out?
Today, and we're doing the book signing today. We're doing it tonight between 5:30 and 8:30 Eastern Time at Ananda, and the link will be in the show notes if you're not sure where it is, or you can just look it up, Ananda. Great Indian restaurant, and Doug and I are going to be there.
So if you're going through any of those life struggles and trying to be forgiven or forgiving yourself for losing a glove as you're walking through about 100 feet of wood, make sure you take a moment and head out to Ananda and talk to Julie. She'll give you a copy of the book. She'll sign a copy of the book for you. I think you actually have to buy a copy of the book. I think that would be legit.
Well,
Dave, when you did your book signing, did you sell your books or were you giving them away?
I've never sold a book yet. I'm still trying to get that first one under my belt.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I gave them away, of course.
Yeah. So I don't think Julie's going to be giving them away. I think that's probably the right way to do it. Since I've never had a book signing, I did have a book signing. I gave my books away.
Yeah. There you go. See,
I did.
Sandler's
I don't think Julie's giving them away, though. But that's okay. Either case, it's a valuable book. It's got a lot of value in the book. Get a PhD in You. It'll teach you how to overcome all the obstacles in your life, how to become a better person, how to get actually, how to learn all about you. And Julie does a great job of what episode was she on, Strick? Do you
289. It was last Monday. If you have not heard about it, if you didn't listen to the episode, it's episode 289. It was on last Monday, the 11th, and you should definitely take a listen. It's a great book. Get a PhD in You. All
right, so Dave, I need to ask you some questions. Hey,
can you guys yap for a minute? I'm going to go grab a drink.
Oh, Strickland does.
I forgot.
Alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
It's going to be like a rum and Coke or something like that, Dave. So, let's start there. Very interesting. So, Dave, you have reached the age of 56 years old, and in your entire life, how many alcohol beverages have you consumed?
Does this count Jewish holidays or not?
Well, if you mean like ceremonial sips, those don't count.
Yeah, like Manischewitz.
Yeah, it doesn't count any of that. No.
Less than 5.
Less than 5? Really? I had that this morning.
You're over that. You're over that before noon.
So what is it? What is it about alcohol that it's just something that you've never, you're not Muslim, right? Are you?
No, here's the deal.
Wait a minute, hold on. Maybe just so everybody knows, I'm not that was a racist comment, but don't Muslims not drink?
I have no idea what Muslims do.
So why did I pick Muslim?
It's around Ramadan, I guess.
All right. So now that we've offended that portion of our listening audience, if you are Muslim and I've offended you, I was not going after that.
No.
I for some reason I was
it's a
thinking
cultural thing.
Yeah, I thought that Muslims don't drink, but as a culture, do they not drink?
I don't know. I don't know.
Jews don't drink a lot, but I do.
No, they go for the hors d'oeuvres well before they get to the bar.
Yeah, that is very true. So why is it that you really just never had alcohol as a part of your life?
All right, let's think about this for a second, because I thought about this myself, because people ask me all the time, like, why don't you partake, this, that, or the other? And here's the real answer. I'm not a trier. And, when I think about it, that's got to be the right answer, because I don't try things. Think about the food that I eat. I don't try new foods. I don't partake in any alcoholic beverages or illicit drugs or anything.
Well, wait, but I have a question then. What have you had more in your life, alcohol or asparagus?
Alcohol.
Right, exactly. All right, let's go with alcohol or salad.
Alcohol.
Okay, good. So that means less than 5 times in your entire life you've had salad. All right, let's do this one. Alcohol, let's see, or here's a good one. Alcohol or sex?
Alcohol.
Wait a minute. You
sorry,
have
Jojo.
2 kids. He just said, sorry, Jojo. Joe is Jody is his wife. Yeah, it's probably been slightly more than alcohol.
Maybe slightly.
So the whole not alcohol. Okay, I can accept that. But what's up with vegetables? Why no vegetables, Dave?
I don't like the taste of them. I don't even like the smell of them to get to the taste of it. So if it's green, orange, anything other than like a color of meat.
So David likes any food that's beige, pretty much. You'll eat beige.
Beige is good. Potato is beige also in some ways.
Did you remember when we were growing up? Okay, so Mom always used to have potatoes. Oh yeah, TV dinners. So we'll get to TV dinners in a second. But Mom always used to have potatoes that came out of a box, right? The instant potatoes.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
At what point in your life, and maybe I know you're smarter than I am, but at what point in your life did you actually realize that mashed potatoes did not come out of a box?
Like when Brooks started to cook for us, like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
My son Brooks is our in-house chef, and he would take these real potatoes, like a potato, an Idaho potato, a russet potato,
right.
And he'd beat it down, and then he'd mix it with like butter and sour cream and whatever, the ingredients he used, and that became a potato, just like what I saw when you used to empty the flakes
right.
box.
Right. So nice guy community. My brother David, he is being 100% truthful with this, as I probably had just found out a few years before that I did not know that mashed potatoes did not come out of a box. I did not realize if you just continued to mash down potatoes that you actually got mashed potatoes.
I didn't even think about it.
No, I never thought about it either.
Why think about it?
I never put the connection together in my head. So and vegetables, fresh vegetables, I did not realize, and we love our mom, but I didn't realize that vegetables actually did not come out of a can. I didn't know that you could go into a store. Now I found this out many years ago, not the potato thing, but literally just a few years ago, I realized that potatoes did not come out of a box. What was your go-to meal as you were growing up as a kid?
Mine?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because we still talk about it to this day. We use it as an acronym to something that we've had so many times that we don't want it any longer, which is, or you get tired of it, is Salisbury steak. So basically, Swanson used to make this TV dinner.
I know.
So
with the French fries.
Okay, so I don't know if a lot of people even know what a TV dinner is, but it's basically a dinner that came in a cardboard type box. Yeah. You'd open up the box, you put it we didn't have microwaves back then, so you put it in the oven for 30 minutes to 45 minutes.
Well, it would better not have had microwaves because they came in tin foil.
Exactly. So basically it would be compartmentalized. Okay, so each area would have a meat, it would have a potato, it would have a green, and probably have a dessert, like maybe a little brownie or something. So there was these 4 compartments. You'd heat it up and basically serve it, to your kids during dinner time. Now, the backstory about Mom, and we certainly don't want to make her feel like she wasn't a great cook, because she really was.
She was a good cook.
She was a single mom who was working a lot and didn't have time a lot to cook us a full meal. So that TV dinner, not only was it convenient for her, but also we liked it. So we would always ask for it.
Well, you like the Salisbury steak. I was a fish stick guy. This was in. I'm going to go back to 1976, 1977. I'm thinking that's about when the era that you're talking about, when we lived in the townhouse. Is that when you're talking about? Or are you talking about even before then, when we lived even in apartments? Wow. Okay. So I don't have any real remembrances of being a really little kid, except for the glove time. But I can recall. recall having fish sticks ad nauseum. So your Salisbury steak was my fish sticks. This was before the invention of the chicken nugget.
Oh yeah, this was there was no nuggets, anything like that. It was basically Salisbury steak. It was fried chicken. It was fried chicken with whipped potatoes.
Yeah.
There was fish sticks, which is what you're talking about.
Yep.
And then there was the Salisbury steak, which I liked, which was a lump of meat basically, and again potatoes, which were whipped, probably came from an instant box, and then there was like corn and basically a hot brownie that you would take out of the oven and enjoy. And after a while, and then that's why I was talking about the Salisbury steak being this kind of acronym to food that you're tired of. I used to have that so much as a kid that today, if somebody says, would you like to have this, whatever this is, and I'd say, no, it's kind of like Salisbury steak to me, it means that I've just eaten too much of it over the course of time.
Oh, it's way too many times. So how did we even get onto the subject of meals? I don't even remember that. I don't know.
The alcohol in my brain is really starting to fry it. So I really not sure.
So it's all this trying stuff.
Right,
for
exactly.
sure. Yeah. So fast forward your business or your life. I don't know, 20 years or something like that. And you're now in your early 20s, and you got out of school with a degree in. Did you get it? Was it radio, TV, and film? Mm-hmm. I couldn't remember if it was that or journalism. So you got out of school with a radio, TV, and film major, and then you start this trek to try to figure out how to get a job in broadcasting, right?
Exactly. And basically what I did was, when I was at college at University of Maryland, College Park, I was on the radio station doing play-by-play sports news. So I figured, and as you know, and we've already been talking about, sports is like my entire life. I wanted to be the next Chuck Thompson, the guy that did sports play-by-play for the Orioles or the Colts. I wanted to call those games on the radio. And I started to do that actually in college, enjoyed it very much. And then things kind of turned in a different direction. And one job led to another, which led to another. And all of a sudden I become this traffic guy. So
yeah, but the traffic was like the traffic was like your entree to really the big time, because I don't, when you think about it, few and far between are those positions like Chuck Thompson, but there's an opportunity to at least break into traffic and get your hand in getting on a station, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's exactly what most people did. And most people that started out doing traffic or maybe weather or something like that never end up being like a celebrity doing that. They just use that as a way to get into a station, because it's kind of like an easy entry, like you said. Just it's usually the entry level type position. In my case, however, I was with stations that really, really valued traffic, and I started to do it. And then as I continued to build recognition and became a name doing it, it just all of a sudden it just blossomed into this career, which is continuing into 2017. It's just you never would have thought about it that way, because there was such humble beginnings, and really what it's turned out to be is an entire career of being Detour Dave.
So and the way that I always looked at it for you, and I look at the mindset that we both have, and you're really comfortable in the environment of working at the station, and I'm really comfortable in the environment of working on my own. And I didn't want to, anytime I had a job that was with an organization, like with a company, like corporate America, mm-hmm. I found myself very quickly getting tired of the scene. And through the course of your career, I kept saying to myself, and I said it to you a bunch of times too, why not do your own thing? Why not go out there and branch out to do your own thing? Why not open up? There's in Baltimore, there's traffic services, probably like many of the services around the country. There's like metro traffic and shadow traffic, and there's probably a handful or more of many, many traffic services. Why is it that you never wanted to just like do your own thing?
Well, I don't like to work, as you know. So, there's a lot, you have to come up with a sales force that's able to sell the traffic. There's a lot of steps that go in it. And I just felt like, you know what? I'm with a great station, probably the biggest stations in the market. I'm making a decent wage doing it. And I just didn't feel like it was worth the extra effort to go about something that may or may not even work out for me. So I guess in that way, I kind of took the easy way out. But for me, it was just the longevity, the appreciation the loyalty to the station. I just felt like I just wanted to keep it that way.
Yeah, and Doug, if I could jump in on that, I've been listening for a while, listening on your old home week as you guys catch up. But, I think what Dave said is really interesting because it is about what you do and what you like to do. How many people do you know who have said, you know what, I'd like to open a restaurant, right? Like, I love to cook and I'm really good at it, so I want to open a restaurant. Restaurants are not about food. It's about running a business. And so, Dave, it sounds like what you're saying is you like doing what you're doing, being on the air and doing the things that you're doing, but actually starting a business.
Wait. Hey, Strick, what's going on in your house over there?
I have no idea.
I thought maybe for a second that there was a kid yelling at my brother's house, and I'm thinking his kids are older. There is no yelling going on. The only thing that's on at Dave's house right now is probably his Labrador right next to him. Is that right?
He's right here. He's right here. He can't wait to get in.
Yeah, I obviously. What's the line where they say, "Oh, shoot, I can't remember."
How can you remember anything? You're being so fucking distracted by everything going on in your house.
I know, right? The line where they're like, "Hey, what's that? Why's your car so loud? Like my muffler's bad. Oh, I gotta get a better stereo to drown it out." Right? It's like, oh, my kids are killing each other. Oh, I guess I need more sound isolation in my booth. Forget the fact that they're actually killing each other. It doesn't matter.
I remember when my oldest, Rachel, for Nice Guy Community that doesn't know that, for my oldest, when she was growing up or when she was a baby, we used to have a baby monitor in her room. And what we would do is when we would hear her cry, we would run into the room, of course, and see if everything was okay and make sure she wasn't hurt or suffocating or anything like that. When my son, who was 3.5 years younger than my daughter, was born, when we had the monitor in a room, which lasted about 2 weeks, whenever he would cry, we would just turn the monitor down because we knew that there wasn't an issue. I can only imagine when you have 3 or 4 kids in your house, what it's all about.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But anyway, so yes, the whole thing is you really got to figure out what it is you like to do. And Doug, or Dave, as you know, I'm sure, owning your own business doing traffic is way more business than it is traffic. I mean, you are a salesperson. You got to go to these radio stations and tell them why your service is better than somebody else's service.
Yeah, no, it's just work that, and Doug knows this, and it's not a secret. I just enjoy doing something over and over again. The monotony of making it easy. Like I said, I'm just not that outside the box kind of guy to the point where I want to make it uncomfortable for myself because that involves sales and marketing. And Doug knows that's my weakest link.
All right, and I would accept that as an answer. And I'm not saying that I'm arguing with you, but I'm going to start a little friendly debate with this. I would say that I would accept that as an answer if you did not have another business that was not successful. And that other business that you have is David has a very successful mobile DJ business that he actually got me started in the DJ business in the 90s on a more of a grand scale. I had done some part-time work, but he was the one that really encouraged me to get into the DJ business. And he has grown a DJ business, which is not just going out and doing parties. You do have to be involved in the sales side of things. You do have to be involved in the marketing part of it. You do have to get involved in buying the equipment. And all of that stuff, I know it is like the pain in the ass factor stuff for you that you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. But you're so good at those things too. And which is sometimes why I think, if he just had done, or if he just went in this direction. I mean, I'm, again, just a friendly debate because I think I look at it and say, you've let these stations and these organizations take advantage of you for such a long period of time. You're selling your time to them wholesale and they're selling it retail to the world. And had you done that on your own, and maybe possibly even if you still do that on your own, it could be, hey, I have 10 people that are working for me and I have them doing traffic at a whole bunch of different markets. It just is amazing to me that it never was one of those things that you wanted to do.
You get comfortable doing the same thing similarly over and over. You add pieces to it slightly, and I think it gets easy. When you make a huge jump, like what I think you're saying, or at least asking, is it a possibility? I think that's where it gets a little scary for me. So, and the interesting part of it is that you said, "Hey, I'll offer to help you do it." It wasn't like I was just out there on my own. Yeah. I think you even said, "Hey, let's think about maybe a possibility. Maybe I could be that sales guy and help you, get started with that." I don't know, for whatever reason, I guess that huge jump to me was just too huge of a jump to make, and I just decided that I'm going to stay within this comfort zone. So,
well, but
makes sense.
I think you're
Makes
also
sense.
not giving yourself enough credit. It really is. You get into the nitty gritty of these things, and it is very different. What I'm thinking specifically of is when you are trying to sell radio stations, you're trying to sell businesses. It is basically business to business. You have a service you're trying to sell to a business. It's a whole lot different from talking to a bride who's getting married or talking to a mom whose son is getting mitzvahed and you're trying to sell your DJ services. It's just a totally different thing. And for me personally, playing in the band, I have no problem going to potential customers' homes and, talking to a bride and groom and telling them why they should book my band. But I hate sales in general, like as a general thing. I don't want to do business to business sales.
Right. I was going to say, and it is the difference right there about business to B2C versus B2B, business to business versus business to corporate America. And it is, you're right. You're right. There is a huge difference. So David has evolved this DJ business and his radio traffic business over the last 25, 30 years of doing it. And where he is today, which is really interesting, the evolution, where technology has really taken your business over the last even 5 years, Dave, it's just leaps and bounds from where it used to be, and I see all businesses kind of going in that direction. What do you think? How much has technology really affected what you do?
Well, obviously, we talked about it initially from 1986 to 2001. I was up in an airplane delivering traffic from a plane. Now, after the tragedy of the 9/11, the airplanes in general were pulled out of the sky because it was difficult to do traffic in the proximity to Washington, D.C. The airspace was very limited. So we as a group, my station, myself, we decided, it's probably not that safe to be up there anymore. So let's pull it back. And technology then shows, hey, now we have traffic cameras. Now we have Google Earth and Google Maps. We have cell phone technology where people are actually on the road giving us traffic information. We don't even need to be up in the sky. As a matter of fact, it probably is worse being up there than it would be down on the ground because you're so limited in what you can see from an airplane. Now we can be in front of a computer with all the traffic cameras all over the Baltimore, Washington area, have access to the cell phone technology, have access to the Google Maps. We can do it now from the ground better than what we could do from the airplane several years prior to that. So the technology basically said, stay on the ground, be inside a room where you can't see any cars unless you look out the window. That to me, that's the biggest leap in technology over the years.
It is really amazing when you think about that. 15 years ago, right, which is not that long ago, you would have to actually be in a plane and looking down on the ground. Oh, hey, look, there's an accident down there. It's backed up, right? And obviously you can't be everywhere in the city to see every accident. And now today, Dave, I don't want to simplify your job too much, but you're probably sitting at your desk in your pajamas with your feet up and you're looking at Google Maps and you're like, Google traffic. Google says this is a little backed up. I don't know why, but it looks like it's red.
But Strick, what's really interesting about what you're saying is this, and really this is the reality. And David, I'll let you chime in, obviously, because it's your job, but this is the reality of where we're going with what David does. It's not about the traffic. It's about the guy delivering the traffic. It's about the messenger. In David's case, he is such a name in the Baltimore area that people tune in because they trust the brand he has created in Detour Dave Sandler. He could be on the air and having delivered the same traffic report every 15 minutes. David could actually tell you probably without even checking any of the services, with the exception of there being an accident somewhere, he could probably tell you exactly what the traffic is like in the specific area of the Baltimore Beltway, or probably even somewhere in this general area without even having to make a phone call. Is that true, Dave?
Are you ready?
Okay.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Inner loop of the Beltway jammed up between I-95 and Route 40 West. Let's check Towson now along the inner loop where delays also continue between York Road and Perring Parkway. Fort McHenry Tunnel, slight delay into the tube where the Harbor Tunnel is jammed up solid. There's a delay back toward Poteet Street as a result of a disabled vehicle in the left portion of the tube. I-95 northbound, it's busy from the Beltway up to White Marsh. And if you continue north up into Hartford County, expect some heavy traffic from Aberdeen out to the Tidings Bridge. Back toward D.C., the BW Parkway shows jammed up traffic from 193 in the Greenbelt area heading up into Fort Meade. And I-95 northbound delays continue as per usual from 198 out toward Route 100. I'm Dave Sandler on WBAL News Radio 1090.
Hey!
right, Dave.
fucking
So
brilliant.
that's basically by memorization because it's this almost the same every single day.
He probably, I'm sure you didn't have anything in front of you when you did that, right?
Nothing. No.
Oh, and for those of you who don't know, okay, I've been listening to Detour Dave like since I was a kid. I mean, for 20 years before I ever knew Doug Sandler, I knew Detour Dave from listening to 98 Rock.
Strick, that has got to be the intro to the show.
Oh, absolutely. I was totally thinking that. As soon as you started, I'm like, okay, this is our intro. People are going to think we're like
I was doing the same thing.
Traffic podcast.
Now that makes great podcasting. So Dave, now you also started a podcast. How is that going?
It's going great, but the problem is that anything that you start new, and I know you guys started off slowly and now you're banging out like 5 to 7 a week. You get off to a very, very slow start. Technology gets in your way. Like we were having some trouble with the microphone earlier, that we solved that issue and a few things. It gets off to a slow start, but I know that we certainly have access to good guests. Everybody wants to be on a podcast these days. As you know, it's not difficult probably to get a guest. It's just difficult to make the arrangements and then put them on the calendar and get everybody together because it's myself and a fellow by the name of Shumi who I do it with. Our podcast basically is about only good stories, only good feeling situations. It's called The Flip Side. And basically, it talks about people that have gone through some adversity, and we all have one way or the other. We're talking about not the adversity, but how the flip side to that, something came good out of it. So basically, we talked to Mark McEwen, who was our first guest. Mark was a CBS anchorman for many years on the CBS morning show. He suffered a traumatic stroke, and basically, he wasn't able to speak. Part of his left side of his brain was affected, and he talks about in this podcast about how the fact is that he had this stroke. There's been so many great things that have come out of it about awareness and things along that line. So that's basically the premise of the Flip Side podcast, and we're off to a slow start, but again, we do know that the momentum will be building.
No, I'm loving the fact that you got into the podcasting space because I think it is really such a great space for you. It really is, and I think that even down the road, if you ended up having you'd be a great interviewer. I mean, you have the voice for it, you have the connections for it, and sometimes that's all you really need: the voice, the connections, and the personality to put it together. All of the other stuff, I always think about it in the same way I think about running a business. I don't like selling either, and I don't like the operation side and doing all the accounting. But I loved the idea of what a podcast is all about, and so all of the other stuff, Strick does some of it, I do some of it. We all do stuff that we don't want to do. But the end result is we get to have a really good experience. And I think that experience is going to be good for you, too. I can't wait to hear more about what that podcast is for you, Dave.
Yeah, we're excited about it. I think it's going to be something that will reach the community in a good way. And I think that people will come out of it feeling more positive and be able to identify, with a lot of things that these guests that we have and ourselves, both Dave and I, Shumi and I have had, some health issues, obviously, some health issues, we can go into specifics, but we've had some traumatic situations that occurred to us. And we feel like we're on the other side of it now and being able to educate and really have people learn something from our experiences. So we are excited about it. And I think that down the road, I think it's going to be something great. It's just sometimes a little frustrating when you get off to a slow start. But we do know that there's going to be momentum building soon. And just like you guys, I mean, we hope to be, in that 300 podcast time frame in the next year or two. So we're looking forward to it.
I love the premise of it. We are absolutely going to put a link in the show notes if anybody wants to subscribe. And, guys, I know you're enjoying the old home week here, but we're like 37 minutes into the podcast. We probably
all right, let's do it. Let's wrap. Yeah, go ahead and wrap it up for us, Strick.
Doug Sandler, Dave Sandler, the Sandler brothers, thank you guys so much for both being here today. I feel like I'm interviewing both of you now. Steve O'Brien, take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, the only podcast I provide voice for and also actually listen to, I'm Steve O'Brien. Well, that's what I tell them, at least. Listen to the beginning and the end. All the stuff in the middle is just yak, 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 yak.